In a world where Boeing and Airbus rules the skies, two nations are now daring to challenge that dominance. Russia and India, two pillars of the BRICS alliance, have just joined forces to build something that could change the future of global aviation. This is not only about airplanes, this is about power, technology, and the battle for independence in a world where the skies themselves have become political. So, what happens when Russia and India decide to take on Boeing and Airbus? Let's find out. Welcome back to TFI Global. On October 27, 2025, a historic agreement was signed in Moscow between Hindustan Aeronautics Limited of India and the United Aircraft Corporation of Russia. The two sides agreed to jointly manufacture the Sukhoi Superjet SJ-100 in India, marking the first full-scale civil passenger jet production in the country's history. For India, it's a leap towards aerospace self-reliance. For Russia, it's a strategic survival move and a defiant message to the West. We don't need your planes anymore. The deal comes at a time when Western sanctions have crippled Russia's aviation industry. Boeing and Airbus pulled out of the Russian market, grounding hundreds of planes overnight. Spare parts, software updates, even maintenance access, all cut off. In short, the skies over Russia nearly went dark, but now the Russians are back with a plan that could rewrite aviation geopolitics. The Sukhoi Superjet SJ-100, once known as the Superjet 100, is a sleek, twin-engine regional jet that can carry around 103 passengers. It's designed for short to medium haul routes like Moscow to Berlin or Mumbai to Kathmandu. But what makes it truly special in today's world is that it's 100% sanction-proof. Every single component, from avionics to engines, is Russian-made. Even the heart of the aircraft, its PD-8 turbofan engines, are designed and built inside Russia, completely replacing the old French engines that were used before the sanctions hit. The first fully indigenous SJ-100 took to the skies earlier this year, and Russia claims it performed flawlessly. So why is this important? Because in the new era of weaponized trade, the West has repeatedly used exports as leverage, cutting off parts to Russia, China, even threatening India at times. Now, Russia and India are saying, enough, we'll build our own. For decades, India has built military aircraft, fighters, helicopters, trainers, but never a large-scale civil jet. That changes now. Under this new deal, HAL will assemble and eventually produce the SJ-100 entirely in India. From manufacturing components to flight testing, it's a full-fledged production line. This is historic. The last time India built a civilian aircraft was nearly 40 years ago, the Aviaro HS-748. But there's another layer: geopolitics. By signing this deal with the UAC, which is under heavy Western sanctions, India is making a bold statement. It will not let US or European pressure dictate its industrial future. It's a risk, but a calculated one, because India's civil aviation market is booming. Over the next decade, India is expected to need more than 550 new regional aircraft. The SJ-100 could serve that demand, cheaper, faster, and built right at home. And by partnering with Russia, India gets access to technology, design, and certification expertise, all while creating thousands of local jobs. Let's be honest, for years Boeing and Airbus have had a monopoly over the skies. Together, they control more than 99% of the global passenger aircraft market. Every major airline, every airport, every spare part, all runs through them. But that monopoly has a cost. And a weakness. When sanctions or political tensions rise, that control turns into a weapon. We saw it with Russia in 2022. We saw it again with China when thousands of Chinese aircraft were grounded because the US refused to export Boeing parts. That's when countries like Russia, China, and now India realize the danger of dependence. The SJ-100, being fully Russian and now built in India, is designed to be immune to that kind of pressure. In other words, it's a strategic alternative to Boeing and Airbus. And if India can make it affordable, reliable, and regional airline friendly, it could eat into a market segment the Western giants have long ignored: short-haul connectivity between smaller cities. This deal isn't happening in isolation. It's part of a larger BRICS strategy, an effort to build independent industrial ecosystems that don't rely on Western approval. China is doing it too with its COMAC C919, a homegrown rival to the Boeing 737 and Airbus A320. Russia's UAC is focused on the regional segment with the SJ-100 and the upcoming MC-21 jet. And now, India is joining the club with its Make in India initiative, aligning perfectly with BRICS' goal of technological sovereignty. Imagine a future where BRICS nations operate aircraft made within their own bloc, powered by BRICS engines maintained by BRICS systems. That's the vision, a multipolar aviation world where the West's duopoly no longer exists. Now, here's where things get interesting. This deal comes just weeks before Russian President Vladimir Putin's visit to India. It sends out a powerful message to Washington and Brussels that New Delhi is willing to walk its own path. Despite US tariffs, European pressure, and Western sanctions, India has chosen to deepen its technological ties with Russia, not retreat from them. For Russia, it's a lifeline. For India, it's leverage. Because in today's world, industrial independence is geopolitical power. And if this partnership succeeds, it could inspire other nations, from Africa to Latin America to Asia, to explore non-Western 100% sanction-proof alternatives for aviation, defense, and trade. That's what makes this move revolutionary. Of course, the challenges remain. UAC still has to regain international certification after years of sanctions. Safety perception will be the key, especially if India hopes to sell the SJ-100 beyond its borders. But with HAL's proven track record and India's growing global credibility, this collaboration could overcome those barriers. Industry analysts already see potential exports to Africa, Southeast Asia, and Latin America, regions eager for affordable non-Western aircraft. In other words, if Boeing and Airbus represent the old order, Russia and India's SJ-100 could be the symbol of a new one. The HAL-UAC SJ-100 partnership is not just about airplanes. It's about a power shift, economic, technological, and geopolitical. For Russia, it's survival, and for India, it's an independence. And for the world, it's the beginning of a new chapter in aviation history. If you found this story insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into global geopolitics and technology. Thanks for watching.